So, we know that a singleton is a Borel measurable set, we proved it yesterday, right, or the day before, I do not know, right. We express B as a countable intersection of open intervals and then proved that therefore, singletons are Borel measurable sets. If it is a Borel measurable set, our Lebesgue measure assigns a value to it, right. Intuitively, what do you think should the value of a singleton should be? 0, it should be 0, right, because you are talking about length and you ideally want the one point to have 0 Lebesgue measure, 0 length, right, that is true, right, but you have to prove it, right. So, you have to prove that P of B is 0. How do you prove that? See, remember I only know the Lebesgue measure for the empty set and sets of the form open A closed B or countable unions thereof. This is not a set of that form, correct. So, what do I do? I have to do some trick like that, right. So, I have to do, let us see if this is right. So, I can do P of intersection n equals 1 through infinity open B minus 1 over n B plus 1 over n. I should close it here, right, because I know only the measures of sets of that kind, right, but I should also intersect with omega just so that it does not get out of my sample space, intersection omega, that is not a big deal. Roll the brackets in place. So, yeah, so this is the P of all this intersection, okay. So, that you will agree, because B is, we wrote B as an intersection of all these guys. I am just closing it now this side now, because I only know the measure of these sets, correct. Now, so first step, okay. Now, what can I do now? See, these guys, let us call that set some Bn or something, okay. Now, Bn's are what kind of sets? So, B1 will be B minus 1 B plus 1 intersection omega, and B2 will be B minus half B plus half intersection omega, then B3 will be, so what kind of sets are these? Nested decreasing, they are Russian dolls, remember Russian dolls. So, they go down like that, right. So, these Bn's are nested decreasing sets, a sequence of nested decreasing sets. Now, if I have probability of an intersection of nested decreasing sets, I can use what theorem? Continuity of probability measures to write this as limit n tending to infinity probability of Bn, right. This is by continuity of probabilities, right, write down if you want on this arrow, right. This is because of continuity of probabilities, this is a non trivial step. Remember how difficult, not difficult, but it was fairly involved to prove the continuity, right. So, this is an important step. Now, what can you say about the probability of Bn? Do you know the measure of Bn? Bn is, see, if it is after all, if it is just B minus 1 by n to B plus 1 by n, the measure is 2 by n, except you may cut it off with omega at some point, right. So, this is definitely a Borel set, Bn is a Borel set and its measure is at most 2 by n, right. It could be equal to 2 by n or something even smaller, right, because it may cut it off with a sample space, right. So, this is less than or equal to limit n tending to infinity 2 by n, right, because P of Bn is less than or equal to 2 by n, okay, and that is 0, correct. So, this requires a proof, right, it is not, so you only know the measures of sets of this form, right. So, in order to work out what the measure of singleton is, you have to use continuity of probabilities, okay. So, without this step it is not correct at all, right. This is clear to everyone? See, now you can figure out a lot of things. So, now if I ask you what the measure of open interval a b is, what will you do? So, I will write, I know the measure of open a closed b, which I will write as union of open interval a b and union of the singleton, but I know the singleton has 0 measure, right. So, from this I can conclude that all these intervals which are either open one side or closed one side, closed both sides, they all have same measure b minus a, right. So, which is very nice, right. So, the length is does not depend on whether you are closing it on this side or that side, right. So, you can easily prove that this p, I am of course referring to the Lebesgue measure throughout by this p. Okay. So, you can prove that, yes.
Do we compulsorily need b plus 1 by n?
Can we do with b? Maybe you can do with b, right. You can do with just b, I guess, right. I think if you suppress that, nothing changes, I think, right. I think it is still okay, fine. The answer is still the same, right. Yeah, that is right. You do not have to, you can get rid of that if you want, then you will have 1 by n instead of 2 by n, right. Can show probability of open a b equals probability of closed a open b is equal to probability of closed a b is all equal to b minus a. So, these are all subsets of 0 1, let us say, right. So far okay, because I know that the singleton has 0 probability, I only know the probability of open a closed b, but I can infer the probability of these guys using the probability of singleton is 0. Okay, so, now we have figured out the probability measure of singleton and all intervals, all kinds of intervals, right. But what if I give you something more complicated, not necessarily more complicated, but something like this, probability of all rationals right. So, what I am talking about is probability of q intersection omega, omega is 0 1, right. I am looking at the probability measure assigned to all the rational numbers in the set of all rational numbers in 0 1. Now, first of all, are is the set of all rational numbers a Borel set on 0 1? Why? It is countable. So, see, it is a countable union of singletons. Singletons are Borel, so rationals are Borel, right. So, rationals will have a measure, right. What is the Lebesgue measure of the set of all rationals? Why? Yeah, so the probability, so you have to write it properly, right. So, this is the set of all rational numbers is a countable union of disjoint singletons, right, which are in fact your rational numbers. Probability of each singleton, each rational number is 0. So, by countable additivity of measures, I will have this is 0. Okay, fine. So, this is, so here you encounter a situation where see there are so many rationals in 0 1, right. In any little interval of 0 1 you have infinitely many rationals, but what I am saying intuitively what I am saying is if I am throwing a dart uniformly to land on 0 1 interval, it has probability 0, precisely 0 of landing on a rational number. See, the probability is not approximately 0, it is 0, okay, it is actually exactly 0, right. So, here is the, now here we come to the confusion that students usually have, okay. So, if you say that the probability of an event, so in this case the event is getting a rational number, right, if you say that the probability of an event is 0, it does not mean that the event will not occur, that is not what we are saying, right. It just says the probability is 0, that is it. See, the null set has probability 0, but it is not true that all sets that have probability 0 are in fact empty, not at all true, right. So, in this case there are infinitely many sets. So, this set is infinite, right, there are countably. So, there is a countable infinity of rationals in 0 1, but still the probability measure assigned by this uniform measure is 0, right. So, which means that if you generate a random number in 0 1 uniformly at random according to this measure, the probability of it being a rational number is 0, it is not approximately 0, it is in fact 0, right. So, take some time to digest this. It does not mean that you will not get a rational number, just means that the probability of getting a rational number is 0, right. Is this clear? So, this is a standard confusion in the minds of students to begin with, because see in these kind of uncountable sample spaces, these kind of seemingly bizarre situations occur, right. When in countable discrete probability is all very nice, right, there is nothing to worry about, right, things like this will never happen, right. So, is this clear? Any questions on this? So, the probability of any countable set on 0 1 will in fact be, it is not just rationals, right, you take any countable set you want on 0 1, let us say algebraic numbers, computable numbers, any countable subset of 0 1 will have 0 probability, right.
If we connect with the probability definition previously studied, it is the probability of happening one thing, and it is contradicting because it is saying that it can also happen, but it is also probability 0.
Yes. So, which is what I am saying, that is that intuitive understanding is wrong, right. So, if you say that the probability of an event is 0, it does not mean that that event is null set, it does not mean that the event will not occur. Okay. So, if you throw a dart at 0 1, it can land at 0.5, because 0.5 is a element of your sample space, right, every element of sample space is a possible outcome. So, it could so happen that your dart lands on 0.5 or 0.3 whatever you want, but the probability of that happening is 0, probability of landing on a rational is 0, right. So, which is why, so this is a misconception that exists in the minds of many students, because you are used to this discrete probability spaces, right. So, you can have infinite sets assigned probability 0. In fact, even more bizarre, you know that the Cantor set is uncountably infinite, it is a much bigger set than the set of rationals, right. It is a scattering of points, which is this bizarre scattering of points, you know it is a Borel set. So, it must have some probability measure, it is an uncountable set, right, it is a much bigger set than rationals, right. So, it is an uncountable infinity of points which still has 0 measure. Okay, you will prove that in your homework, okay, because what happens is you keep removing these open intervals, the middle third, the measure of all the intervals that you remove will in fact add up to 1. So, what remains is it is a 0 measure set, but it is an uncountably infinite set. So, it is not as though uncountably infinite sets of 0 1 will necessarily have positive probability measure, even that is not true, right. So, you will prove that the Cantor set has 0 measure, okay, try it as a homework, okay, it will be in your homework in any case. Okay. So, for okay, yes, probability, so probability measures are
The events.
yes,
What is the
events here are in fact Borel sets,
So what is then the meaning of probability being 0 with respect to events?
it is just that the event has 0 probability, right, that is all there is to it. It does not mean that the event will not occur. Okay, that connection you should not make.
0 does not have any physical meaning.
Sorry.
0 does not have any.
No, I mean, so I am assigning probabilities to subset of omega, right? I have not given any frequentist interpretation or any such thing. I am simply putting measures on sets, right? If you are imagining it to be this and that, it's, I mean, that's not, I mean, it may not be right, right? So I am saying that subsets, all Borel sets will have a Lebesgue measure. If you take sets like rationals, they have probability measure precisely 0, not approximately 0. Okay, it is in fact equal to 0, zilch, right? There is no question about this. It does not mean that a rational cannot occur in 0 1, it very well can, right? Its probability is 0, that is all, right. So these kind of events, so when an event has probability 0, you say that in English, so the terminology used is it almost surely will not occur. Okay, it's again it's a terminology, and if an event has probability 1, you say it almost surely will occur. So if I say an event is almost surely going to occur, that does not mean the event is omega, no, right. For example, if I take probability of irrationals in 0 1, it should be what 1, because this is 0, right. So if you throw a dart uniformly at random on 0 1, almost surely the event of an irrational will occur, right. Almost surely an event of a rational will not occur, right. That is the terminology used, but that does not mean that this set is empty or that this set is omega, it is not, right. Yes.
So can I relate this cardinality and probability somehow?
No, cannot. All you know is that countable sets have to have 0 measure, but it is not true that uncountable sets necessarily have non-zero measure, that is not true. Countable sets definitely have 0 measure under this uniform measure, right. Uncountable sets may have 0 measure, may have positive measure, right. So an example of a, so this sets like the intervals have non-zero measure, but a Cantor set is an uncountable set which has precisely 0 measure. So if you throw a dart on 0 1 uniformly at random, the probability of it landing on a Cantor point is precisely 0, although the Cantor set is an uncountably infinite set. Okay. Any other questions? Yes. So the probability of irrationals in 0 1 is 1 minus the probability of rationals, because P of A is 1 minus P of A complement, that is the first probability property we proved. So probability of rationals is 0, because it is a countable union of singletons. So this must be 1, right. Okay, so I want to just indicate how this, so if this is this okay, the Lebesgue measure on 0 1. So I want to quickly build this Lebesgue measure on R. The theory is very similar, but it is not a probability measure anymore, right, it is just length, right. So if you have, so if you want to talk about Lebesgue measure on R, so you should first build your sigma algebra, right. You should have to build your sigma algebra on subsets of R, right, all subsets of R. Now how do you do it? Again you start off saying that only certain sets are of interest to me, right. So one standard way of doing it is you take C naught as the collection of all open intervals on open intervals which are in R, okay, and you generate the sigma algebra of those open intervals and you call that the Borel sigma algebra, okay. Actually there are multiple ways of doing it, there are at least 3 equivalent ways of doing it. So you can let C naught be the collection of all open intervals in R, then B of R, the Borel sigma algebra on R is defined to be sigma of C naught. Okay. Just like in the previous case, right, you just took the sigma algebra generated by open intervals, doing the same thing, except this B is on, this is the Borel sigma algebra on the entire real line. Now, see in the 0 1 interval, we proved that you can generate the sigma algebra, Borel sigma algebra using either open intervals or these f naught kind of sets or even closed intervals, right, they all lead to the same sigma algebra. So, similarly on R, there are multiple ways of generating the same sigma algebra B. Okay, another way is to define it, let D be the collection of semi infinite intervals. That is, D is the set of all semi infinite intervals such that x is in R, right. So, these are intervals like that minus infinity to x, right. Again you can, what you can show is that the sigma algebra generated by D is in fact Borel sigma algebra. This is another way of generating the same sigma algebra, right. You take these semi infinite intervals and you create the sigma algebra generated by that, that is one sigma algebra. See, the problem is now you have defined the same thing BR in two different ways, right. Whenever you define the same thing in two different ways, what do you have to do? You have to prove that they are equivalent definitions, right. So, you have to prove that the sigma algebra and the sigma algebra are one and the same, right. So, in that sense they are not both definitions, one of them is a definition, the another must be proved as a result, right, or you have to say if both are definitions then they are both equivalent, right. So, this is one, this is, so Borel sets on R are either generated by open intervals on R or semi infinite closed intervals on R, right. In fact, yet another way to define it is to say that a set on, so in terms, this is in terms of sigma algebra, another way of defining Borel sets on R is to say that if you take a subset of R, that set is a Borel set on R if intersections with each of these n plus 1 intervals is a Borel set on n plus 1. Right. So, we know Borel sets on each of these length 1 intervals, we already defined it. So, if these intersections taken with all these n plus 1 intervals are all Borel sets, you say that the set on R is a Borel set. So, you can say that is, you can show that is also the same sigma algebra, right. Now, again, so now if you, once you have defined this Borel sigma algebra on the real line, now you have to go ahead and define Lebesgue measure, right. How would you do it? You take same story, right. You take f naught, which are sets of the form A B, A1 B1 union A, so on, same story, right, and then you verify Carathéodory holds, right, and then say conclude that there is a unique measure that corresponds to length, right. So, repeat the same story. Okay. So, that will lead to a measure on R BR, right. Just a repeat of the same story will give you a measure that's called a Lebesgue measure on R. Okay. So, that measure, the Lebesgue measure on R is usually denoted by lambda. Okay. So, we will say that, so I have not really gone over this in great detail, just because it is the same story repeated again, except the Borel sigma algebra is defined in one of many equivalent ways, right. So, what you will have is, so lambda is the, this is the Lebesgue measure on R BR. In other words, R BR lambda will be a measure space. Okay. This guy corresponds to length, okay, on R. Is this a finite measure? No, right, because you are associating length, right, and lambda of R will be plus infinity. Remember, measures can be infinite, right. So, the Lebesgue measure is not a probability measure, it is simply a ordinary measure, right, it is just a measure, it is not a probability measure. In fact, it is a infinite measure, it just corresponds to the notion of length on R, okay. And the machinery to build it up is exactly the same. Once you have defined the Borel sigma algebra on all of the real line, then you apply Carat-Theodori and the same story follows. Okay. Okay, so I think it is time for me to stop. Thanks.